What's up, everyone? This is Josh here from Basement Level Magic, and we are going to go ahead and do a Battle for Zendikar draft, and we already have a tough decision. Drana is insane. This card is bonkers. If you haven't played with it, you should definitely try to. But also, Retreat to Emeria is really, really good, and I'm a huge fan of white in this format. Um, I don't see myself being able to pass Drana. Just the fact that if your opponent isn't able to remove it and you're able to attack with Drana, you know, 80% of the time she's going to get through for damage, and when she does, she's going to put one counters on all of your stuff, which is really important. The unfortunate thing is it's going to mean that white is going to be really tough for us unless we quickly cut. I feel like this is a super strong pack, though. Even you've got Valakut Predator is a decent card. Dampening Pulse is very good. Sheer Drop is decent as well. I just think we gotta go with the legendary Vampire Ally here. It's gonna be questionable what our next color is gonna be. You know, maybe we end up with some red and black with it. Otherwise, blue is gonna be difficult to get to, probably because of the Dampening Pulse that we just passed. Saying that, Catacomb Sifter is very good and it's in black. Eldrazi Sky Spawner is probably the better card though, and it doesn't put us in the green-black, which is kind of a difficult deck I found in this format. Being able to get yourself into a really good green-black tokens deck is just not as easy as you would think. It just doesn't have quite the synergies that some of these other decks do. And, you know, maybe I do feel like the blue-black has a pretty decent low-to-the-ground aggro build that you can go with, which would be great with Drana. Also, you can get a lot of ingesters and try to do some of those big Eldrazi processors. So let's go ahead and take the Sky Spawner here. Alright, so we've got, you know, these aren't greatest of choices, but, you know, Carrier Thrall is definitely going to be one of those that it could play into that green-black token strategy that I was talking about, but also the blue-black, it'll do a pretty decent job with. Narcana Assassin is fine if we ended up with a black-white, but I think white is going to be pretty difficult for us to be in because of passing that Retreat to Emeria, which means something like a Court Castigator is not really going to be what I'm going for here. And if we were, we'd have to cut white so strong it'd be really hard to get somebody off of that. I think Carrier Thrall is just going to be the best option for us right now. We know that we want to play black because it's Drana. Come on now, that's one of the better cards in the set, so we do want to play that. Otherwise, I'm a big fan of Valakut Invoker. It's a decent body early, and it's a really good play late. But I'm going to take the Carrier Thrall. Alright. So Bloodborne Vampire is actually really, really good in the black-white life gain deck. We don't exactly have a lot of other options here. I mean, something like an Anticipate would go with the blue-black, but that's not anything too exciting. I think Bloodborne Vampire is just the strongest card, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and take it. Anticipate, like I said, is fine, but it's not going to do us much good. You know, pick 4, taking an Anticipate is not anything you want to be doing. Otherwise, Core Blade Whirl is very good. You know, we're passing some really good white cards, and that's going to make this hard to be a good card in our deck, but let's go ahead and take it and see where we go. We do see the Calestria Healer here, which is a sign that, you know, maybe we are going to be able to pick up some white. You know, if we do pick up white, it's going to be in that second pack probably, because we're passing some real good stuff. Otherwise, Grave Birthing is a decent card. So we do have a couple allies. So a Calestria Healer, even in this deck, would be okay. Otherwise, like I said, Grave Birthing is a decent card. It's been surprising how good it's been for me, actually. Brood Hunter Worm's not really playable. Blisterpod kind of stinks. McKinney Patrol is fine if we're in white, but Callistra Healer is just the strongest card. Alright, and you know, we're not seeing a lot of blue either, so that makes me really wonder about our choice of this Sky Spawner. I think Sky Spawner was definitely the right choice when we took it, but we haven't seen much blue to keep us in that. We do have a Shatterskull recruit, which, you know, there is a red-black ally kind of deck out there. It's not the strongest, but it might be a decent color combo for us. I think Rune Processor is easily the strongest card in this pack. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. I guess otherwise we could look to do Shatterskull Recruit. Yeah, let's go. Let's try this. Actually, we're somewhat rewarded here. We either go with McKinney's Slide Runner, which is the best low card. Turn Against is a decent card that we could use, you know, as a pretty good trick to try to take out our opponent's best creatures, hopefully 2 best creatures. Otherwise, we go ahead and just keep cutting the black, because Narcano Assassin is an ally, and you know that works with the Callistra Healer, plus it's just, you know, a 2/3 body is decent in this format right now. I think I'm going to take the Slide Runner though. Turn Against, like I said, Turn Against is probably the more powerful card, but I do want to try to get an aggressive black-red build. I haven't really been able to do a lot of that during this format. I'm going to grab the Shrine of Forsaken Gods. I'm not real excited with Looming Spires, although it does play well if we were looking to go with this aggressive build. We just may end up wanting, you know, say we end up with a Rune Processor, you know, or any other, you know, we still could be in that blue-black deck that we were originally talking about. But now this Valakut Predator is just a really good sign for us that red is open. You know, blue just never came around to us. That second pick, Sky Spawner, was, you know, just kind of played with our minds a little bit. It's one of the best commons you can get in this set, and that's why I was going for that. Plus, I do like blue-black Devoid, but it looks like we're going to probably go with a red-black aggro deck here. Reckless Cohort is actually not terrible in this style. And getting the second one actually makes it even better, just because being able to not have to attack is pretty important. I'm not excited really by either of these, although yeah, let's just grab the lower drop. I don't think Lava Step Raider will make our deck. We'll take the Coral Helm Guide here, or Retreat to Coral Helm, my bad. Dispel. Alright, so not too terrible. We had to do a kind of a change in plans there. And we actually didn't see much black after the early part there. Here, got a couple different options. None of them are great. Tajiro Stalwart has actually been pretty impressive to me in an ally deck that you can try to converge for. The thing is, you need to make sure you have mana fixing for it, which we do have in this deck. Otherwise, Culling Drone is decent. And typically, red-black is more of a red-black Devoid, but I don't really want to take Culling Drone this early. I may just go with the Pilgrim's Eye. If we do decide that we want to splash a color, this is really going to help us with it. Plus, it's got a 1/1 flying body, which is nothing exciting, but it is a card with evasion. And then we'll look to possibly have one of these green allies come back around to us. So I think we go ahead and take the Pilgrim's Eye. Ah, Drana's Emissary is so good in allies. Complete Disregard, though, is going to be the choice. We would love to have some removal. We pass so much good white cards, or so many good white cards, that Drana's Emissary is just really not going to end up with us. Calestra Nightwatch is a card I would love to see come back around for us. Otherwise, Retreat to Kazandu has been a very good card in this format, I feel. You're pretty much happy with all of the landfall triggers on this one, whereas some of the retreats you're kind of a little bummed with. But I think Complete Disregard is easily going to be the pick. Here... Alright, I am not... Yeah, I think I absolutely have to go with Hero of Gomafada. If I'm talking about playing some kind of aggressive ally deck, how do I pass it up? We did just take a Pilgrim's Eye, so we've got a little bit of mana fixing. If we could go ahead and get a Evolving Wilds with this, we'll actually be pretty well set. Otherwise, there's just nothing too exciting in this pack. Sure Strike is actually like a removal spell for red in this format, so we would love to see that come back around. Dampening Pulse, that's the second one we're going to be passing. This time it's going the other way though, so we don't have to worry too much about it. God, I'd love to have Royalist Retribution, but I think we gotta go with the Evolving Wilds here. And we're not double white. I don't think we can try to manage that. We are going to take the Evolving Wilds. You know, in that, if we were still in the first pack, I'd be looking to be happy with this Mist Intruder. Otherwise, Rot Shambler it's a decent card. Tajiro Beastmaster, since we are doing a, pseudo ally. Actually, we're fairly ally. We've got a couple cards that aren't. But let's take the Evolving Wild just to get our mana fixing going. Look at all these white cards. Gideon's Reproach Gideon's Reproach is the best card in the pack. White is more of a splash, which having it be a 2-mana spell is not great for us. I'm going to go ahead and take the Nettle Drone here. I could understand if some people kind of question that, but we are base black-red, and we want to make sure that people know it, and we're going to be cutting it as hard as we can. So let's go ahead and take the Nettle Drone. Here, I actually kind of like the Blighted Gorge. Boiling Earth is probably stronger, and Grave Birthing is, it's a little, I guess it's pseudo card advantage, because, you have to play a card to get it, but you're able to draw a card, you get a 1/1 out there, which is not too bad if we were able to make sure Drana gets on the board every turn, or every game. I just think Boiling Earth in the sideboard might be more important for us. And then we'll look to possibly get a Blighted Gorge or Grave Birthing on the way back. Alright, here, best card is Courier Griffin. I'm not a huge fan of sacrificing my creatures in this format. Even though I've got a lot of low drops, and many of them are not exciting, I don't necessarily know if I want to Altar's Reap. Expedition Envoy is nothing exciting, and it's too early of a drop, but I think Courier Griffin is just too good of a card to pass up. We do have an Evolving Wilds and a Pilgrim's Eye, so we've got a decent amount of mana fixing, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Griffin. Alright, so nothing exciting here. I don't want to take a come into play tap Splash Source. Although Geyserfield Stalker, that's not a great card. Typically, I would say taking a fight spell is going to be the best option, but Unnatural Aggression is kind of crappy in this format. I'm going to take the Coral Helm Guide because it's about the only card that you will actually see played. Alright, so Tajiro Stalworth did come back around. Yeah, we've already got Boiling Earth, and I don't think that we're going to be white enough for a Lithomancer's Focus, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the Tajiro Stalwart, and we'll see. Maybe we get even more mana fixing. Here, nothing too exciting. We'll take another Lava Step Raider. There's a Geyserfield Stalker. I think I might just go ahead and take it this time. Otherwise, Dutiful Return in a deck like this is probably not too bad. Just gets us some cards back, and I'm actually going to take it, because those other cards are just not very good. I do want to have at least one Scour from Existence in my deck. Just having a way to deal with your opponent's bombs is always going to be important. We'll take the Ferocious Null here. I'm just going to go ahead and take him out, and we don't need more than one Dutiful Return, I think, ever. Alright, so that pack kind of stunk. I feel like we were definitely in a better position after the first pack. But hopefully this second one, or this third pack, we'll be able to find a few things that help us out a bit. So we do have a Drana's Emissary, which if we're looking to play white and we're wanting some kind of ally gain life thing, I could definitely see that being the right pick. Otherwise, Complete Disregard is probably just outright better, and it doesn't force us to have our white mana early on. I feel like we're kind of all over, getting a little bit of mixed signals here. I don't think Shatterskull Recruit or Core Castigator are near good enough, or even Core Blade Whirl, so it's definitely between Drana's Emissary and Complete Disregard. I think I just want to go ahead and take the removal, which is really hard for me because I think Drana's Emissary is one of the better cards in this set. But we need to make sure that we have a decent deck before we go kind of stretching ourselves a little bit. Shambling Vent is actually I think that's easily going to be the pick. There's a lot of strong cards in this pack, though. Rune Processor is awesome, and I'd love to have at least one Eldrazi in this deck. Brood Monitor is one of the better green cards. You know, a 3/3 that makes 3 1/1 tokens. Eldrazi Sky Spawner, you know, you saw me take it. I think that was my second pick. So that's very good. I'd love to see Calestra Nightwatch come back around to us. We have a few ways to gain some life. Demon's Grasp would even be okay. But I think grabbing a Shambling Vent right now, and then that'll allow us to probably only play one Plains to be splashing. Alright, Chasm Guide. Actually, there's a lot of good red cards here. Tons of good red cards, actually. Chasm Guide, Tunneling Geopede, Stone Fury. Sure Strike is even fine. Inspired Charge is not actually fine. That's double white. Narcana Assassin would be decent in this as well. Yeah, the question, I think I'm basically looking at Chasm Guide versus Stone Fury. Just having an outright removal is going to be really important for us. Right now we only have 2 non-creature spells, and they're both complete disregards, so they're not able to deal with a larger creature. But obviously with us having all these creatures, we are kind of looking at being a really aggressive deck. Otherwise, Tunneling Geopede, I'm going to go with the ally. I want to have that really aggressive build that I know that we can do. Ulamog's the spoiler is actually, you may have seen I early clicked on Hagra Sharpshooter just because it's an ally, it's black, and it actually comes in handy later in the game when you're able to just ping your opponent's creatures. But Ulamog's the spoiler is, you know, we've got only a couple ways to exile stuff. You know, we may need to look to find more, but I do want to have that top end guy. I find that a lot of times in these ally decks, you kind of just run out of gas. and you don't have that card that's big enough. So we'll definitely be looking at prioritizing something like a Grave Birthing, but right now I want to get that big finisher, and Ulamog's Despoiler could definitely be it. There's a Ruins Processor now that after doing that, but Swarm Surge, Rune Processor, Demon's Grasp. I think I want to go for some removal. I do like Rune Processor more than Ulamog's Despoiler, but I find that, you know, a lot of times in these, I've been finding where it's really difficult to get these later. I mean, we're still early in the pack, but I kind of need the removal right now. I'd love to see the Swarm Surge come back around, just because we're gonna have a lot of low creatures on the board, hopefully. All right, Outnumber is a great sign, or it's a sight for sore eyes. And of course I'm going to take the foil one. So just getting a little bit of removal is really important for us. There's that Grave Birthing that I was asking about, or hoping for. It's going to be able to put a card in exile from our opponent, which means that we'll have 2 complete disregards and a Grave Birthing for exile to hopefully pump up our Ulamog's Despoiler to a 9/9. Otherwise, Kozilek's Sentinel is fine, and typically it would be great in a red-black deck. You know, our red-black just didn't really come together like you typically think of it, which would be as a Devoid deck. Ooh, okay. So this is... Wow, these are some good cards here. Nettle Drone is fine. Unfortunately, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 colorless spells, so we're not doing a ton of pinging. I think I might just want a slightly stronger card in a Vestige of Emrakul. We're not really... Which actually works great with Nettle Drone, unfortunately. But I think we just want something a little bit bigger that has that trample to it. Here, I think another Shadow Scroll Recruit is fine. Calestra and Nightwatch. Alright, so we're plenty of playables now. I'm definitely going to go with the Sure Strike over the 3rd Reckless Cohort here. Like I said before, Sure Strike tends to be almost like a removal spell in the red decks in this format. Goblin Warpaint, I don't think... I mean, I doubt that I'm going to play it, but there's always a chance. And now I'm not going to take any of these cards, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab some nice looking basics. Alright, so that 3rd pack definitely made up for the 2nd pack. The 2nd pack, I think we were in a pretty tough spot. You know, and even if you look at whether we would have been in a really good black-white life gain deck, which, I mean, I passed 2 Drana's Emissaries, which is typically a bad sign. But I don't know that we would have ended up doing a huge amount better, though. Boy, I gotta tell you, I really hate moving lands now in MTGO. If you haven't been playing recently, and you can't just put stuff in an empty pile anymore. Alright, so we definitely want the Outnumber. I'm going to go ahead and group our creatures separately, see what we got. We're probably a little bit top heavy. We probably don't need all of these 5 drops. Courier Griffin just doesn't really make sense in this deck. I mean, it works with the Bloodbond Vampire, but it doesn't really work with a lot of other things. I mean, otherwise we could look to possibly cut like a Reckless Cohort so that we do play a Courier Griffin. Because the Griffin is going to give us a +1/+1 on our Bloodbond Vampire. But the Reckless Cohort, you know, works better with Calestra Healer and Hero of Gomafada. Yeah, we've kind of got a mixture of red-black Devoid and red-black allies right now. We'll see. I mean, flying is really good in this format, so Courier Griffin may just be better. think starting out though, I'm okay with going like this. All right, we need to. I want to cut one more card though, and it's probably going to be one of these higher ones. I don't think we have enough ways to gain life for our Calestra Night Watch to be turned on. You know, we do have a Shambling Vent which has lifelink. We have a Courier Griffin in the sideboard, and then we have the Calestra Healer. Other than that, though, we don't have a lot of ways to gain life, so this card just isn't really too exciting. I mean, saying that, I could easily see cutting the Bloodbound Vampire and play the Calestra Night Watch over that, but I just like having the lower drops if possible. So let's combine this. Curve looks decent. Typically, you'd rather have, you know, one more card in the 4-drop, one less in the 5, but I think they're strong enough that we'll keep it. We'll go ahead and do the Shambling Vent and the Evolving Wild. We're only going to need 1 Plains. And I think 8-7 is probably fine because the black from Shambling Vents, so it'll be 8 Swamps, 8 Mountains, 2 Plains, plus an Evolving Wilds and a Pilgrim's Eye, so I think our mana is going to be pretty good. You know, if we wanted to, we could try to be like even more aggressive, bring in these Lava Steppe Raiders, bring in the Goblin War Paint. But I think for now this gives us kind of a better, more mid-range, but we're still quite aggressive with all these early drops. So we'll go ahead and hit play, or hit submit, and I'll see you in round 1. Thanks everybody, this is Josh from Basement Level Magic. Later.